This was an article from a couple of days ago, okay? But I think it's relevant. EU leaders divided over new sanctions to punish Russia for annexing Crimea. European leaders are divided over punishing Russia for seizing Crimea after preparatory meetings between ambassadors failed to reach a consensus late Wednesday night. The Prime Minister and the German Chancellor disagree on how strongly to respond to Vladimir Putin's decision to break up Ukraine at an EU summit in Brussels. Mr. Cameron regards Russia's swallowing up of Crimea as an escalation of the crisis in Ukraine and as a move that should trigger the EU's commitment to take further reaching sanctions if Moscow further destabilizes the region. I think we should be responding to the fact of this annexation. We said that if there was further action to destabilize the Ukraine, and this annexation is that action, further consequences need to follow, he said on Wednesday. Talk about prodding a big bear with a shitty stick. Who the hell does Cameron think he is to call for this? As I've said before, this could lead to an incredibly scary scenario, resulting in nobody receiving an iPhone 6. Imagine that. We need to call for cool heads, which Cameron clearly isn't. I fear he's becoming a liability. Even the top bloke in Germany, Angela Merkel, has a cooler head than Cameron at the moment. Yesterday, we hear that Ukraine are going to start performing military exercises with Britain and the US on the Russian-Ukraine border. Just who the hell gave Cameron the right to do that? Is he really going to hide behind that unheard of Budapest memo? Is he really? He's going to drag us into another theatre of war because of some unknown signed Budapest memo that nobody knew about until this all flared up. And today we hear from Cameron, we haven't ruled out freezing assets of Roman Abramovich. The article goes on to say, David Cameron said today he had not ruled out freezing the assets of Russian oligarch Roman Abramovich, and warned that anyone supporting the destabilization of Ukraine could be targeted. Well, Mr. Cameron, you fucking warmonger, you need to take a very serious look in the mirror and target yourself. You also need to target George Soros, John Kerry, John Al-Qaeda McCain, and hoop-throwing Obama. Because we know, Mr. Cameron, that it was you guys, it was your administrations that destabilized Ukraine, no one else but you lots. You put the neo-Nazi government in charge, you back these neo-Nazis to overthrow an elected government, albeit they're corrupt, but you're corrupt, Cameron. Obama's corrupt. America and Britain are probably 100 times more corrupt than the government you ousted in Ukraine. It was you guys who funded the Muslim Brotherhood to overthrow the Egyptian government. It was you guys who funded Al-Qaeda in Libya, killing up to 60,000 innocent people in the process. You tried to openly arm Al-Qaeda rebels in Syria. You are the problem, Mr. Cameron. I'm no Vladimir Putin fan, but it's Mr. Cameron and Mr. Obama and Mr. McCain and Mr. Kerry who are the problem here. They're the warmongers, they're stirring everything up. We're on to you, Cameron. We do not believe the bullshit you spew anymore. We know your central banker chums are salivating about you handing them Ukraine. I'm sure you're going to be rewarded handsomely when you're kicked out of office, just like your warmongering buddy Tony Scumbag Blair was. The day is coming, Cameron. Tick-tock. Tick-tock.